It is basically April and I'm just now doing my February reading wrap up. Really need to get my life together. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Lauren and on this channel we talk about books, and this video is one that is relatively overdue. It is March 26 right now and I am just now getting around to filming my February reading wrap up. Good thing I take notes when I finish books, or I don't even know if this video would exist at all, because not that I forget what I read, but like, let's be real. Would I be able to do a recap almost a month later? I don't know, probably not a very good one, but I do have notes, so yay, we can do all the things. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into the February wrap up. So the first book I read in February, which honestly feels like a lifetime ago, was From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I really loved this book. I did give it a 4.5 stars. I felt like it could have been, it was so close to being a 5-star, but I don't know, something was just, I don't know, like it just wasn't there. Like I just didn't feel like giving it a 5-star. I feel like that was just like overzealous. I don't know. I'm not really sure why. Maybe that's silly, but there just was something that was holding me back from going all the way 5 stars. But either way, this book was absolutely amazing. I've had this book on my shelf for, I don't know, 2 or more years at this point, and the only reason why I finally picked this book up is because of book club that I am a part of on Fable. This was the voted book of the month for February, and I was like, ooh, perfect, I own this book. So I did listen to it on Audible. I listened to the dramatized version of this book, and maybe that added to the love I developed for this book and the characters. I feel like that always adds something more. The dramatized versions of books are just, they're just the best. So I really enjoyed that aspect of like devouring this book. If you have not read this book, we do follow our main character, Penelope. She more often goes by Poppy. She lives in a kingdom where she is the maiden. She's the chosen one, so she has to be veiled. She cannot speak to anyone. She can't mingle with people. She can only speak to certain people, a part of the, I don't know, the royal cabinet, if you will, and her royal guard. She has one friend who is her lady's maid, and that's the only person that she's really allowed to speak to or have any type of friendly kind of relationship with. So she is very lonely, and she has private tutors, private lessons, so she doesn't even really get to experience like a school-like setting. Like even her lessons are just one-on-one with this very rude high priestess. Poppy does have this really rare gift, if you will, where she can feel people's emotions, and with the touch of her hand she's able to ease people's like negative emotions, like if they're in pain or if they're feeling discomfort or things like that. She's able to take those feelings away. She isn't necessarily taking away the pain itself. She's just taking away the person's ability to feel the pain or discomfort. And throughout the book, her gift kind of develops into her being able to sense more emotions. And the Duke and Duchess that is helping take care of her and shield her, the Duchess tells her that this is normal, this is what it is to be the maiden. So she kind of just like brushes off these abilities as this is what it is to be chosen. In this first book, Poppy does really like her guard. He's an older gentleman. He has taught her how to fight and protect herself. But unfortunately, two kingdoms are basically at war with one another, and during a battle within the kingdom, her guard, he does perish, and so she is assigned a new royal guard, and his name is Hawk. And of course, Poppy is drawn to him, she's attracted to him, and Poppy, being the maiden, should not be feeling these nefarious feelings for Hawk. So for a good chunk of the second half of the book, we are really just kind of exploring Penelope's or Poppy's own personal growth, her discovery, and what she wants for her life, how she wants her future to develop. And of course, all of these things that she is thinking about herself are kind of ignited, if you will, by her feelings for Hawk. She was already starting to kind of question the kingdom and the practices of the kingdom and what the kingdom is telling the people. Her trust in the kingdom was definitely beginning to falter, and Hawk coming into her life just kind of fast tracks those doubts of her own kingdom, but also, if she really is the maiden, is she really the chosen one? You know, does she want to be chosen by the gods? And so Hawk kind of helps propel a deviated future for her. So I think that's really interesting. This book is definitely full of politics, political intrigue, self-discovery. There's a lot of secrets, there's a lot of betrayal, there's a lot of relationship building, and it's just really, really fun. Yes, it is fantastical, but there's a lot of like emotion and personal character development going on that brings the story together. It's not just fairy smut, as people like to dog on these books about. There's definitely deeper meaning and deeper stories happening, which I definitely appreciate. So I thought that this book was really, really good. I did not realize going into this book that there were so many books. I think there's like 5 or so. I did not realize there were so many books. I think on Audible there's like 6 books to listen to, and then there's also like side quests, side stories connected to this story. So it's like a whole world happening. Very like Sarah J. Maas style. So, which I did not realize. But now I'm in it. Like I feel like I'm committed, you know? Another book I consumed via Audible this past month was Psycho Shifter by Jasmine Maas, or Moss, I don't know, M-A-S. This book was not for me. I did think that the cast was fun to listen to. The voice of our female main character, Sadie, she did a really good job. She was pleasing to listen to, and I do feel like her voice fit like the attitude of the character Sadie. So that was nice. I don't have any complaints against like the Audible experience being a negative one, but the Audible experience, the person reading the book, that was like the only positive thing I have to say about this book. I just felt this book was so cheesy. Like it wanted to be, I don't know if this book is supposed to be satirical, like if it's supposed to be a joke, like if it's just supposed to be like a jokey, fun fantasy read that's like, you know, like parody movies. Like I felt like that's what this book was. Like, was it supposed to be a joke? Because I felt like it was a joke. Like I don't know. Like I couldn't take it serious. I just was like, this is ridiculous. And not in a good way where I was like, ha ha ha. Like I was like, what is even happening? What is going on right now? Like, is this, like, are we really doing this? So yeah, it was a weird book to me. It's kind of sad because I feel like the premise, like it had the potential, it had like all like the ingredients to be a good book, a book that I would want to read, but it just didn't do it for me. So we do have paranormal beings. Sadie, she is a shifter, so they can all shift into animals. Typically they shift when they are like in battle or if they're feeling threatened. It is a shifting of free will, but there's like a purpose to the shift. Like they're not just like walking around in their animal form just for fun. Like their animal form comes out when it's like required. We also have a Fae realm in this book. The first book in Psycho Shifter, the Fae realm is kind of elusive. It's like a place that like you don't want to go. The Fae, like they're really abusive creatures, and Fae, they're just like they're the evil ones in this book. They are portrayed as the adversary, and all of the Psycho Shifters, they hate the Fae Queen. Why? We don't really know. It's not really explained. There is some underlining like hints that there is like an abuse of power in the Fae realm, but it's not really explored very much in this first book. So we kind of just get like the baseline that like we hate the Fae. The Fae are evil. That's really all that you kind of get. So in the beginning of this book, Sadie and her little sister, they're basically servants. Sadie's sister, she is favorited in the household that they work at. And so Sadie's sister is sent off to school to get a proper education while Sadie is kind of stuck to clean the household of her master, if you will, and also being a servant within the bar that he owns. And all of the like upper class shifters, they get taken to this magical lake, and this lake kind of, I guess, determines what kind of shifter you are. If you're alpha, omega, if you're just like a basic shifter that can like turn into a squirrel, you know, things like that. And prior to kind of like the intro to this book, only, like I said, the higher up in society get tested. Servants and like orphans and, you know, low life society would not be tested. But there is an announcement that all shifter species of whatever class you are in will now be tested. So in the middle of a fight with her master, some guy comes barging in to the bar and takes Sadie to go get tested. And turns out Sadie is an alpha, and she's the first female alpha of, I don't know if it's her generation or just ever, I don't know, but she's the first female alpha, and it's a big deal because she's tiny. She's like 5'2", 100 pounds, and alphas are supposed to be big, burly, huge men that turn into like dinosaurs and whatever else. So it's very shocking that Sadie is an alpha, and she blacks out and then wakes up at this alpha camp close to the Fae doorway. And no one can believe that she's actually an alpha. And so they're pretty big dicks to her. And the story just kind of is a repetitive cycle of her trying to prove herself to the rest of the alphas and the omegas that are also at this encampment. So yeah, so the inner story of, or the inner workings of that story, it's just, it could have been really good. I guess Sadie's character was okay. It's just the story was really, really repetitive. It's like, I don't know, it's like this, I felt like every chapter was the same. Sadie being pissed off. They're called psycho shifters, I guess, because they, well, obviously they're shifters, but they're psycho because they like don't have a grasp on their emotions. Like they just behave like psychos. Like they're just very brash. Like, I don't know. So I guess that was like supposed to be the point of like their characters and why no one seems to be able to behave civilly, or why they're all like murderous creatures. I don't know. I guess that was supposed to be the point, but it just didn't fall for me. I just thought the whole thing was a little ridiculous. So I think that there is a second book, something about the Fae, because at the end of this book, one of the alphas betrays all of the other alphas. He's actually working for the Fae Queen and like her court, and so he like fooled everybody. And so I'm pretty sure the second book, I don't think it's called Psycho Fae. Maybe it is, but you're in the Fae realm in the second book. I will not be reading the second book or listening to it for that matter. I'm not going to waste an Audible credit on the Fae story. It just wasn't for me. And so that's that. The third book I read in February is Arcana Academy. Now this book was a win for me. We follow Clara. She is an arcanist. Basically, she can create tarot cards without any formal training, which is highly illegal in her kingdom of Oracalis. So you can only create and wield tarot if you have been an attendee of the Arcana Academy. So in the start of this book, Clara is imprisoned in Halazar, which is the kingdom's, top-notch prison, for creating tarot outside supervision of the crown. And she kind of like halfway finds herself escaping and like halfway being rescued by Prince Kalis, who happens to also be the headmaster of Arcana Academy. So throughout the story, we follow Clara's journey of being a student at the academy. I say halfway escapes, halfway is rescued, because the prince kind of like sets her up to be able to escape. Like he goes with the intention of her attempting to escape, which she does, and then his people rescue her because escaping Halazar is obviously impossible and not survivable, and she does find herself kind of like in a perilous situation while escaping, which she probably would have died had his like servants or whoever they were aided her in her escape. And then when she awakes from this unfortunate situation that she finds herself in while escaping, she's in Arcana Academy. But once she is there, she is presented with basically an ultimatum. She is going to be the prince's bride. They are now engaged, and she needs to win the trials to get into the academy, because she can't just be automatically accepted. There are, initiation rules that she has to follow just like any other student. So, which of course she does pass the trials, and she is an initiate of the academy. And then throughout that initiate period, she needs to impress the individual headmasters of the houses, or like the leaders of the houses, to get accepted into into the school. And then she is officially a student. So it's not as easy as being, oh, I was rescued by the prince and now I'm a student here. No, she does have to go through trials and then impress her peers so that she can stay, all while not being figured out that she's the escapee from Halazar. Like, she's been given a false identity. She's been they are saying that she's like the long lost heiress of like a fallen house. So she's got like this big alias going on. She's engaged to a prince that's, evil and cunning, and kind of has like his own, dark scheming going on, and she's just trying to survive. So there's a lot going on in her life for you to like kind of keep track of. So Prince Kalis is known as the Void Prince because he is rumored to have the ability to wield reversed tarot cards, which is like a dark and unreliable form of magic. And the prince does have his own reasons for wanting to marry Clara. And as Clara gains more knowledge of what these plans are, she begins to formulate a plan on how to use this to her advantage. As the crown has taken everything from her home, killed her mother, and now her missing sister, who she believes is dead, Clara and the prince both want to change the world with the help of the Forbidden World card, but only Clara has the potential to gain the knowledge on how to draw the card. And at the end of the first installment, Clara makes the decision to protect her friends rather than to continue her alliance with the prince, potentially changing the fate of the world forever. So yes, Clara, she, like I mentioned earlier, she can draw any card without formal training. Maybe they're not as, fabulous as trained arcanists, but she is able to draw and wield her own cards, and beyond the knowledge of her peers at their age, because she's been practicing tarot since she was a little girl with her mother. So she does have advanced knowledge and the special ability to draw any card. And so her, I guess, internal ability or internal card magic is the Wheel of Fortune. And so this gives her the ability to change fate, which is really, really cool, but also a really dangerous thing to be able to wield, because if you change fate, it kind of erases history in a way and obviously changes the future. So she has to be really careful. But this World card, you can wield the ability to change fate. Anyone can wield it. So she's kind of like a double whammy going on, and the prince has his own ideas on how to use the World card, and she has her own ideas on how to wield the World card. And she wants to bring her mother back. She wants to rescue her sister. She wants to do all of these things. She has her own visions of how the world needs to be and should be, whereas Callus doesn't necessarily agree with that. He's not trying to bring back the dead. He wants to change the future that's ahead. So in the end of this book, we do have a slight betrayal happening. But it seems that potentially the prince and Clara really do have genuine feelings for one another, but maybe not strong enough to overcome a betrayal. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see, but I really loved this first book, and I cannot wait for book 2 to come out. I don't know when it's going to come out, but I definitely have this first book saved and pinned on my Fable. That way I can see when the author adds new books to the series, because I thought it was really good. Okay, the next book I read this month, well, February, is Metal Slinger. This is another one that I've had on my shelf for quite some time, and I don't know what has taken me so long to pick this book up, but I did listen to this book on Audible, and it was delightful. In this book, we follow our main character, Bryn. She's a part of the Allaha Guard. She was orphaned at a young age and was taken in by the Allaha people, which is just a tribe of people banished to live on the sea because of their ancestors' crimes. So they're not allowed on land because they are deemed too dangerous and untrustworthy. And even though she looks different and has been essentially treated as an outcast her entire life, her best friend, who happens to be the son of the leader of the Allaha, Kai, has made sure she is respected within the community. The Kenta are a land-dwelling tribe that show a semblance of kindness to the Allaha, and they do allow them to come ashore to attend their annual market to get, produce and things that you just can't get out at sea. So this year, Bryn gets to attend the market, and while on land, she finds herself in trouble with one of the Kenta guards, and she is wrongfully accused of stealing from one of the vendors at the market. And so Bryn, she must defend herself against this enemy soldier, because she's like, hey, I did not steal anything, and this Kenta guard is going to cut her hand off. In this moment, it's like the catalyst for the story changing, kind of taking a different course in action with our characters. So while Bryn and all of her little soldier Allaha friends do make it back to their ship to depart from the Kenta market, the soldiers do end up following their tribe out to sea. And the soldier who was going to cut Bryn's hand off does venture into their kind of encampment, if you will, and comes to find Bryn and question her and kind of divulge some secrets that he happens to know about her. And this is when Bryn kind of starts to rethink her position in the Alaha Guard and kind of starts to question her past, and does end up leaving the Alaha offshore encampment with this guard. This book again is full of a lot of political intrigue. It has a lot of angst in it between our characters. And the biggest thing that this book has is a totally unreliable narrator. Yes, this entire book, you are reading it thinking one thing because of how Bryn, the narrator, is telling this story. And then all of a sudden, like the last chapter, you're just completely blindsided. Like, Bryn is a little sneaky snake. So I won't get into how she's a sneaky snake because you'll just have to read it yourself if you haven't already. If you have read this book, then you know. But wow, this book really, this last chapter, second to last chapter, whatever it was, just really, like, my jaw was on the floor. I was like, no, she didn't. No freaking way. I did not see it coming, and I love when I don't see something coming. So that was really great. I do believe the second installment of this story comes out June or July of this year. So perfect timing for me to finally pick up the first book because, wow, I will absolutely be reading book number 2 to this story. I thought that it was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. So that is exciting. The 5th book that I read in February is The Damned. This is book 3 in the Cursed Covens series. So it looks like the author was going to let this series be a duology, but it's really, really entertaining. And so she continued on in the world. She just changed the perspective, what characters we are focusing on. So in this story, we do follow Margot. She's our female main character, and she is a red witch, and her magic is that of sex magic. And tragically, Margot was not treated fairly as a child, resulting in her not wanting to use her magic in fear she will end up no better than those who violated her as a young girl. One night, she is singing in the gardens at the school to help relieve some of her pent-up magic when the archdemon Beelzebub hears her song, because that's what sex magic witches do. They draw you in with their song. And he immediately becomes obsessed with her, because that's what happens when you hear a red witch sing, kind of like a siren. You become obsessed with her and you want to help her relieve her pent-up magic. There is war brewing within the school and its covens, and also within the depths of hell. One night, the portal to hell is opened within the school, and Margot falls through it. And of course, Beelzebub, being the obsessed archdemon that he is, follows her through the portal, attempting to save her. But the portal is too small for his wings, and so they end up falling down the portal together, along with other archdemons, including Michael, which isn't an archdemon, he's an angel, but he happens to be at the school kind of taunting Lucifer, and he falls through the gates to hell as well, which is really unfortunate for him. Once they are in the pits of hell, the only way out is to travel through the 9 circles. Margot has to pass tests through each circle, which obviously is really trying for her because she is alive, and these little tests through each of the 9 circles are designed for just souls, not necessarily corporal human live beings. And so because she is alive, the dead can kind of smell her, and the dead that have been dead for a really long time, they, I guess, transform into kind of like zombie-like, not demons because they're just normal dead souls, but they are very hungry and they can sense that she is alive. So she's not only trying to pass all these trials in the 9 circles of hell, but she's also having to not be eaten by zombie-like dead things within hell. But essentially this story is all about Margot's journey of self-discovery, self-forgiveness, self-love, and also learning the ability to love. She has a lot of self-loathing going on and a lot of, dare I say, self-hatred, which kind of impedes her ability to love not only others, but especially have love for herself, which is really sad. But you do get to kind of see this journey of her letting go of past trauma and developing that very well-deserved sense of self-love. Like the first 2 books, this 3rd installment was very fast-paced. It's not a very large book. I think it has maybe like 320 pages, something like that. It's very fast-paced. Like the pages are small. The book itself is small, and the pages are small, and there's not a lot of words per page. So you kind of just zoom through this book, so which is nice. It is very fast-pacing, and which is good. The author definitely has a great writing style. I enjoy reading this author, but because it's so fast-paced, I did find myself sometimes being like, wait, how did we get here? Like I would like turn back the page, like did I skip a page? Like are my pages stuck together? So that was a flaw for sure. I don't think it necessarily took away too much from the story. It was still enjoyable, but there were definitely times where I kind of got like whiplash. I was like, I felt like, did I miss something? Like how did we get here? Like we're like, what? But that's okay. It didn't necessarily make it confusing. I just, like I said, at times felt like we jumped from one place to another with 0 build-up and 0 warning. So there was that little part, but that's really the only thing that really was a flaw of this book, is that I just felt like we kind of hopped from one place to another with no explanation at times. Overall, I really did enjoy this story. There's going to be a 4th one, I'm sure, with the way that this book ended, which was spectacular. It was a jaw-dropping ending, which I do appreciate. Another ending where I didn't really see coming, and I just love an ending where I didn't predict it. The love story that develops between Margot and Beelzebub is really, really sweet and endearing. They both definitely feel like they feel something for one another, but him being an archdemon, he can't love a witch, and her being a cursed red witch with the implied inability to love, yet she still feels these feelings. It's just really sweet and endearing, and it was really fun to watch develop on page. I will say, if you are sensitive to reading about sexual assault or rape, I would definitely read the trigger warnings of this book. There's nothing explicit on page, like the activity isn't happening on page, but it is a huge part of Margot's trauma and her story, and it is definitely talked about and implied and kind of worked through with Margot's character on page. So if anything like that is, if you just, that's not what you want to read, if you, that, you know, I want you guys to know that that is definitely a heavy topic within this book. It is a very central part of Margot's character and who she is and what she's been through. So if that is heavy for you, I would skip this book for sure, because it is a forefront topic for Margot. All right, you guys, well, those are all the books that I got to reading in February. Be on the lookout, because with March almost over, hopefully I will get my March reading wrap up up sooner than like got this one up. But let me know down in the comments what books you read in February, what books you're reading in March. I always love to see what you guys are reading. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I really appreciate that. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.